Hi, Steve here in my workshop in Bellevue. Today for the Shopsmith Mark IV 7520 self-study course, we're doing lesson number 8. Lesson number 8 is on overhead routing. And there's only one assignment in this particular one. And I've got the machine set up to start doing this particular assignment, which means that we're going to do a stopped groove, and then we're going to do a stopped slot, which means that we will have, when we're done, we will have a slot, just like you see here, that goes all the way through. Initially, we'll just do it about halfway through, and that will be for our stopped groove. And then we'll continue all the way through, and that will be for the slot. And we've got here our guard on here for the overhead routing. We've got our router chuck with a 3/8" carbide tipped router bit in here. We've got our feather board here. I've mounted on my fence here the optional stops here at either end, which makes it more convenient. Of course, on your written assignment, you don't have those. And of course, on that one, I had you clamp a block to either side to do that. But for today's video, I'm going to do it with the optional stops that's attached right here to your fence, which you can get from Shopsmith. I've set my fence here so that it is 1 3/4 inches to the left of the 0 mark. That's going to put my slot here in the middle of my 1x4, which is 3.5 inches wide. And what we're going to do when we do this is we will start each time from this end, and we will slide the stock this way. You only want to slide it this way when you're cutting. You don't want to slide the other way, because if we slide this way, the natural action of the bit will push the stock into the fence. If we do it the other way, it's going to want to push it away from the fence. But we're also going to use the feather guard to hold the stock firmly against the fence while we're doing the operation. And I brought along here the drill chuck so you can see that when we had it set up for overhead drilling, you can see that we would have had the motor higher than what we have it now. Now with the router chuck, that's so much shorter than the drill chuck with the bit. So to position this motor down closer to the table, we've already put this in the horizontal position, and we readjusted the motor, and then we raised it back up to the vertical position. Under no circumstances should you ever try to adjust this motor height while it's up in vertical position. It's just too heavy at 78 pounds to control, and you'll end up having it smashed down on the table if you try to do it. So our process here is we've got our stock positioned here. We're going to put the fence, the feather board next to it, putting pressure on it, and I'll lock that in place. And I'm going to have the pressure right where the bit is. We'll tighten this in place. To set up, I'm going to drop my router bit till it touches the stock, lock it in place. Now I'll set my depth stop here for 1/8 inch, which is 2 lines. We want to just do about 1/8 of an inch each pass. So the process we're going to do is when we turn it on, I will advance the quill. Then when the quill is advanced and lock it in position, the stock will be slid to the right till we stop. Then I'll raise that quill back up, move my stock back, and I will position it for the next deeper setting for 1/8 inch. And we'll do that 1/8 of an inch of each time. All right, so now let's retract this up. Let's turn on our motor. So we've got it set to do our first cut, the first 1/8 inch deep cut.
Are you hearing things?
And I'm going to go over and get my hearing protection now, so just before we start. Okay, so on my setting here, I'm going to select router, softwood, between 1/8 and 1 3/4 inches, And that's going to set my speed at 10,000 RPM. Okay, we're ready to start. Let's just double check here. Okay, we're ready. We'll start it up. I've stopped it because we need to do the 7-step safety check before we start this, as we do in all of them. Check our motor lock, my carriage lock, my trunnion lock, my table height lock, and the quill is already set to be unlocked, which we need to be. The machine is firmly on the ground. I've got my support legs here on the table. We've got nothing on the auxiliary spindles. Now we're ready to start. I've stopped again because we've forgotten one more item. Need to have our push stick. All right. I'll take a breath. Wait a second. Make sure I haven't forgotten anything else. Okay. Now we'll start. Push stick against the stop. Now I've stopped it there because this is at 0. I'm going to adjust it now to an 1/8 inch deeper. Now I'll retract my quill. Pull this out so you can see what we've done so far. That was our first cut. Slide the stock back over to the left. Make sure the featherboard's still tight there. And we'll do it again. Lift it till it stops slowly. Lock the quill in position. Advance the stock slowly. Stop the motor. Adjust my depth, 1/8 inch deeper. Retract it. Run it again. Advance the stock slowly. Set my depth again, 1/8 inch deeper. So I've done 3/8 inch into it now. So if I was just doing a stopped groove, like this, where I was going to insert some stock, shelf, or something into that, that's what that would be used for. Now, if I want to do something all the way through for like a jig or fixture, which I'll show you one example here. This jig here, you can see it's got a slot all the way through. That's where we would want to do a slot. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to go all the way through the rest of the way for this one. Back to the left. You just got 3 more cuts to be all the way through. You also noticed when I have the machine on and I advance it into the stock, you can actually hear the difference in vibration when this is tight all the way. You want to make sure you do that. Don't leave it loose when you do your stock pass there. Make sure you actually tighten the quill in place. Hear that vibration go away when I keep tightening that quill? Okay, this time I'm going to set it for about 3/16. So I only want to do 2 more passes to get it all the way through. Okay, do this about another 1/8 to 3/16, and that'll be all the way through. Actually, you can see we've got a little bit to clean up there. We'll go ahead and finish that one more time. There you have it. There's our slot all the way through this 3/4 inch stock. That's the end of the lesson on overhead routing. See you on the next one.